What's up? It's Chris, the Drone Geek, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Drones. Let's Talk Drones is brought to you by The Droning Company, the #1 online resource for commercial drone pilots. They've got awesome resources, materials, articles you can review on their website, thedroningcompany.com, plus a second-to-none job board. So whether you're looking for 1 and 2 off gigs, or you're looking for full-time staffed work as a remote pilot for a company or organization, make sure you check out The Droning Company, again, at thedroningcompany.com. And you can find them on all major social media platforms. This video is also brought to you by Bwine Drones. Now, I don't have any copy for Bwine Drones because the entire video is going to be about Bwine Drones. About 3 weeks ago, Bwine reached out to me asking if I'd be interested in reviewing their F7 drone. And of course, I've only ever wanted to review drones on this channel, and I was more than happy to accept their offer. So they sent me out an F7 unit, and I was able to sit down, unbox it, go over the setup, fly it, and review the camera. Now, originally I was gonna do this all in one video, but it's just a little too long. So I'm gonna separate this up into 2 different videos. This is part 1, where we're gonna go over the unboxing and the setup of the Bwine F7 drone. In the next episode of Let's Talk Drones, which it'll launch tomorrow. I wanted to get these out as close together as possible. We're gonna go over the flight characteristics as well as the camera performance of the Bwine F7 drone. So without further ado, we're gonna jump into the review of the unboxing as well as the setup. Keep in mind at the end of each section, that's gonna be the unboxing, the setup, the flight characteristics, and the camera performance, we're going to do an evaluation, give it a score out of 5 points, and then we're gonna tabulate those all up at the end of video 2, so make sure you pay attention to that so you get a pretty good feel and a general overview of what you can expect from the Bwine F7 drone. All right, that's enough yammering. Let's get right to it and start with the unboxing of the F7 from Bwine. Okay, so we do have the Bwine F7 drone, and we're gonna be starting this review video out with a good old-fashioned unboxing. So first impressions of this packaging, it's sturdy. It's pretty nice. I mean, it seems pretty heavy duty. It is just a cardboard box, not real fancy schmancy though. You don't have that Apple-esque look or feel to the outside packaging. So, definitely high quality packaging, but not quite what you see with maybe some other products out on the market. So we'll go ahead. I already went through and cut the tape, like these troublesome tape spots, so that we don't have any problems opening these boxes. And you don't sit here watching me struggle for 5 minutes with getting these things done. So go ahead and open this up. Oh, it looks like we have another box to work with here. And I'm just going to slide this out ever so gently. Okay, so we'll put this box aside. And we have another box to look at. And what is this box? It is the exact same box, but colorized and made to look fancy. It's almost like it heard my whole critique of the outside packaging and had some fancy smancy stuff on the inside. So the same box, just colorized. It's got a little bit of a gloss to it, which is nice. And again, it's sturdy packaging. It feels sturdy, feels like something that has something that's very high quality on the inside. So that's exciting. So we'll go ahead and we will stop talking about the boxes and let's get into the actual product. Unless there's another box in here, in which case, we'll have to talk about more boxes. So we have a Ziploc style bag in here. We'll go ahead and take that out and we'll put that there. Now, unzip the bag. And what do we see here? Okay, so first things first, we've got all of the regulation stuff. So we've got disclaimer and safety guidelines, we've got a quick start guide, and we've got the user manual for the drone. We're not gonna go over what's in these in detail. I always recommend though, when you buy a new drone or a new product in general, you always read the user manual to make sure that you know how everything works, why it works the way it works, and that if there are any problems, you have some solutions or some go-tos to find solutions. These are always good for that. So I'm gonna put these aside for now. And we'll go ahead and, well, this is the first really pleasant surprise. Oh, this is nice. There's a little travel case that comes with this drone. I'll go ahead and put it down like that. That's really nice. Wow, I'm actually thoroughly impressed by the quality of this. It's got a nice pleather material on the outside. You've got a couple side pockets. You've got a front pocket here, and of course you've got your top zipper pocket, which I'm sure has everything that we're reviewing in it. If not, this is gonna be a really short video. So let's go ahead and let's get this opened up, but I really don't wanna short sell this. This is a nice carrying case for this drone. I mean, if this is any indication as to what's inside here, I think we're in for a real treat. So let's go ahead and open this up. And before we get into that, because I feel like that's got all the real goodies in it, let's take a look at what's over here. We've got our remote controller, our RC. And this is, first impression, this is like an amalgamation of several different style controllers out there on the market now. We've got, these fold down. So these are like your grips. I think you could probably put like a mobile device in here if it fits. And then you have, this is also what I thought it was, another device holder here, or this is the device holder. How far does that stretch out? That's all the farther it goes. I mean, I'm really wrenching on this, and that's all the farther it goes. So first thoughts on that, not a lot of diversity in terms of what type of device you can put in here. I mean, I guess you could get an adapter for a larger device. As a professional drone pilot, as a hobbyist, you know, when I fly just for fun, it doesn't really matter what I use. I can use whatever, and I don't have a real preference. But as a commercial drone pilot, when I'm flying professionally, I really like to have a tablet mounted to my controller. And the reason for that is I get a better look at what's going into the camera, and being able to see a much larger image in front of me allows me to see things that you might miss on a smaller screen and hone in on those things if I need to. So the lack of diversity in terms of what kind of device this controller can hold is concerning. Okay, so that's the first thing. But let's not focus too much on the negative. Let's go ahead and unfold these antennae. Okay, so lots of different ways that you can use different controllers with different antenna. Sometimes they have you fold it down like that, both of them down like that, and the signal comes off that way. But I remember seeing information online that said that you hold it this way and you have the antenna pointing this direction with that like 45-degree angle. I don't even know what degree that is. I wasn't a good math person. Looking at the control sticks, these are fixed in place. You can't remove these by unscrewing them. So that's what you're working with. And let's take a look at the button layout here. So we've got, I don't know what all of this is yet. So this is all just sort of speculation based upon the symbolism on these buttons. We've got a return to home button. That's pretty obvious. We've got our power button, and we've got a stop button. So I'm assuming this is an emergency stop button. In case you get into trouble, you can hit that and the drone will stop. This looks like it could be, I don't know what that is. It maybe is a camera switch button, like going from photo to video, but I'm not really sure what that symbol means. We go up top here, you've got your photo button, you've got your video button. You've got two dials on the back. One says angle. I'm assuming this fixes or adjusts the gimbal angle up and down. And this has a little image with a plus and a minus around it. So this doesn't have an adjustable aperture. So I'm gonna rule that out, which leaves me with one suspicion on this. This does have a digital zoom feature, so I'm assuming that this adjusts the digital zoom, plus being more zoomed, minus being wider shot. So yeah, I mean, so my overall impression of this controller is it's trying to be a lot of things, but the one thing I will say is even though there is a lighter weight plastic being used for the body of this controller, it feels nice in my hand. Like it's heavy, it's got some weight to it, and it doesn't feel, even though it's lighter weight material that I'm used to with other controllers on the market, it doesn't feel cheap. Like this is a nice feeling controller. It's got nice weight to it, and I could really see myself using this pretty effectively without having to worry about breaking it or having something go bad on it, a part go bad on it. Just a really solid controller all the way around. So let's go ahead and fold this back up. Okay, so we're gonna put this controller aside for now. We'll look more at this later in the video when we do our actual flight test. So put that aside for now. And let's bring the bag back into focus. So next up, right into it, we got the drone. So let's take the F7 out of the bag. And actually, we're not gonna get right into it. I'm gonna put this aside for now, and we're gonna see what else is in this bag before we get to the coup de grace. Looks like we have another flap in the bottom here. And okay, so we have another battery. The base package of the F7 drone from Bwine comes with a second battery. It comes with 2 batteries. So we've got our second battery here for the F7. Let's go ahead and open that so you can see what it looks like. So it looks a lot like other battery forms that are out on the market today. It's got that longer look to it, and it slides in, you know, just like this. You're supposed to get 25 minutes of flight time per battery. We'll see if that's true later in the video. Charges via USB-C on the outside, and to start it, you press and hold for 3 seconds on this button, and it would turn the battery on. We're not going to do that now because this isn't plugged into the drone, but this is one of the 2 batteries. The other one is in there. So we'll go ahead and put this aside. Let's take a look at the other box that's in here. So this looks like it's spare propellers, but I gotta say it's sort of heavy. So I'm thinking that there's maybe more in this than just the propellers. So let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, yeah, we definitely have more than just propellers in there. We have some spare cables, maybe for charging purposes. Let's put those up there. We have our propellers. Here are our 4 blades. We get 4 spare blades with this package. That's an Allen wrench. And it looks like we have some spare screws as well. So we'll go ahead. We're not going to unpackage all of that. I'd like to keep that together. We will get rid of this box though. We're not going to need that. And we'll also get rid of the other battery box as well. We won't need that either. Okay, so we've got all of that taken care of. We're going to take all of this and put it to the side here. We're also going to put this bag to the side because we are done. Again, I cannot talk about enough how much of a surprise this was. This carrying case is extremely high quality. I really like it. Okay, so enough about that. We won't gush anymore over the carrying case. Let's get to the main event. This is the Bwine F7 drone. So you can see that, again, much like the controller that we just looked at, this is an amalgamation of a lot of different controller style, or drone styles rather, not controller styles. This is an amalgamation of a lot of different drone styles. You've got folding arms, you've got landing gear, you've got a 3-axis gimbal. There's just a lot to this drone. And it feels like it takes inspiration from other drones on the market, other popular drones on the market. So first things first, let's take a look at this. Our propeller, or actually, yeah, this would be our propeller guard or our arm guard. So we'll go ahead and put that aside. We have to take that off. Now this is, again, I saw some literature ahead of time that shows you how to unfold the arms on this drone. And this is maybe one of the more unique folding styles that I've seen on the market. So the way that this works is your rear arms fold back and you sort of have to give it a little elbow grease. They are a little tight there, like that. And your front arms do a semicircle unfold. So that's how you unfold the arms on this drone. So let's go ahead and do it on the other side. We'll pull this back like so. Again, a little elbow grease, it clicks into place. And then same with this one, you just unfold it in a semicircle and it sort of snaps or clicks into place. So that's the total footprint of our drone, of the F7 drone. Go ahead and take this gimbal guard off. And this is what we're working with. If I had to tell you about how big this drone is without telling you how big this drone was, I would say that it's very close to the same size as a very popular drone on the market that recently had its 2S version go out. It's about the same size as the original of that drone, but just add the landing gear on the bottom. It's a nice sized drone. It feels heavy in the hand. It's not super heavy, and I actually am wondering, let's take the battery out and see how much lighter it is. It still has got some heft to it. I mean, this certainly accounts for a lot of the weight in the drone, but it still has a decent amount of heft to it. But I will say I'm a little concerned, even though it's still hefty, the plastic on the outside is extremely lightweight. It feels cheap. It's not, I'm not saying it is cheap, but it feels cheaply made. And I get it, you want to keep costs down and stuff, but I am a little concerned about that. Even the propellers feel a little bit flimsy. I know they're supposed to have a little bit of give to them so that you can achieve lift and direction and things like that, but this just, they bend a lot, and I don't want to bend them too much before we fly it, but it is a little concerning. Let's take a look at the gimbal here on the bottom. So you'll see here we do have a 3-axis gimbal, which is really nice. When you're flying drones, if you're doing it for photography or video, it's almost unnecessary at this point to have a 3-axis gimbal, or at the very least, if you're flying FPV, be able to have some sort of digital image stabilization available to you. But when you're flying what this is, a photography and video style GPS drone, you want that 3-axis gimbal, and it does deliver. So it says that it has a 4K Ultra HD camera. Again, we won't talk too much about that now because this is the unboxing, but it is marketed as a 4K drone. We'll see what the image quality is like later on in this video. And just overall looking at this thing, it is impressive. For $450, this feels like a drone that would fall into that category. I don't think that that's an unreasonable price tag for what we've got so far. So really sort of impressed. I am a little concerned about the build of the drone itself. We'll see how it does against the wind. It has a wind rating of 6, level 6 wind rating on these propellers. I don't know if we'll do a real stress test of this drone, but we will take it out on a slightly breezy day and see how it does. At the end of each of these sections where we review different parts of this drone and the package that comes with it, I am going to give you my thoughts, and it's time for that now. So my thoughts after unboxing this drone. The package that was sent to me by Bwine sells on Amazon for around $450, like I said before, and after unpacking everything and feeling the overall build quality of the drone, I think that's a fair rate for what you get. While the plastic of the drone in the RC is lightweight and feels maybe a little bit on the cheap side, it is sturdier than most other drones in this category. If you pair that with a really nice travel bag that comes with the drone, it really starts to add up that this drone is higher quality than it lets on. I give the overall unboxing experience and build on this drone a 3.5 out of 5. There's definitely room for improvement, but still, this has been a very nice experience out of the box. Okay, so now we are moving on to the setup part of the Bwine F7 drone. Now, I am gonna say this. This process is terribly inefficient. Not difficult. It's not something that is totally off-putting, but this could have been done a lot more efficiently. And it's not that this is something that Bwine did wrong. If I remember correctly, I had a drone when I first started flying back in 2017 that required a very similar setup for connecting to the drone and then flying it. So they're just working with what they have for this drone, and I get that. I just, I've been spoiled for the last few years not having to connect to a drone this way anymore. So enough beating around the bush. What you're gonna need for your setup is your drone, obviously the Bwine F7, the controller, the RC unit, a mobile device, this is my iPhone 11 Pro Max, and then an SD card, which we have here, micro SD card rather. So I've already done some of the setup work for us. I mean, this is a no-brainer. You just unfold the arms. I removed the gimbal cover off of the camera. I've unfolded the controller, and I've just sort of laid everything out for us at this point. In order to get started, you'll need to go to the app market on your respective device. So whether you use an iPhone or an Android, you need to go to your respective app market and pick the app. It's the same app, but you just have to go to your market and pick the Bwine drone app. So I'm gonna pull my phone off of camera so I can type in my passcode and unlock it. Okay, and then you'll see here, and it's a little blurry, it's out of focus, so I can't focus it automatically. This little red app right here, it's a red square, it's got light red on the outside corners, and it's got a dark red in the middle with the word Bwine in it, or Bwine. I don't really know how to pronounce it. I never thought to ask them, but I'm just gonna continue saying Bwine. So we'll go ahead and click on the Bwine app, and you'll see here, this is what it looks like. So this is the app that you'll use for interfacing with the drone camera. We've got that downloaded. So from here, what we need to do is we need to actually power on our devices. And with the F7 drone, in order to power things on, it's sort of a mixed bag. So with the controller, I've found that you need, even though the instruction manual says 3-second click, you actually need to click once and then click and hold, and it powers the controller on. So our controller is on. With our drone, however, it is absolutely, that's gonna beep the entire time. I hope that's not distracting. It's gonna be click and hold for 3 seconds, and our drone is on. Okay, so we've got the F7 drone on, we've got the controller on. Let's go ahead and mount the phone into the controller. I accidentally took a picture while I was doing that. or zoomed out rather. Okay, so we've got our phone situated into the F7's controller. We've got the F7 on, we've got the F7 controller on. Now what we need to do is connect the phone to the drone, and it does that via Wi-Fi. So we'll go ahead and we'll get into our settings, and we'll want to go into our Wi-Fi connection. And you'll see here that the BWine signal pops up as one of the suggestions. It's BWine F7, and then it's a bunch of numbers. It'll be unique depending upon your drone. So we're gonna click on that. We're gonna connect to it. And once we've got the clear that it's connected, we'll go ahead and we will reopen the BWine app. And then we're gonna go ahead and click controls. And you'll see here there's a prompt that lets us know that we need to push the joysticks up to the 11 and 1 positions. This will start the calibration process. Now, again, this is just the setup portion of the video. At this point, you're ready to begin the flying process. But what's different with this drone than other drones on the market is that you need to calibrate both the compass within the drone as well as the gyroscope within the drone every single time on power up. So in order to do that, we'll just go ahead and cover that now so we don't have to do it in the next video where we talk about the flight characteristics. We'll push the sticks up to 11 and 1, and then it's gonna ask us to go ahead and spin the drone around to calibrate the compass. Oops, I accidentally hit the camera. Okay, and then after you're doing that, you have to just spin it with the camera facing up in the air. The camera doesn't have to face up, but the drone has to be faced in that direction. And then the gyroscope, you just have to lay it on a flat surface and it calibrates the gimbal automatically. So at this point, I could take this drone out and we could fly it. We're not gonna do that in this video. The only thing that I wanna show you is where this guy goes, the micro SD card. It's not obvious at first glance, and unless you read the manual, you may end up looking for the SD card slot for a very long time. So I'm gonna go ahead and power down the drone by pressing and holding for 3 seconds. I'm also gonna power down this remote so it doesn't chirp at us for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so from here, we take our micro SD card. And what you need to do is bring the drone up like this and set it up on end. And then you'll see here, it's hard because the camera can't go all the way down, but you'll see here there's a sticker that prompts you to find the SD card slot, which is right here below my finger. It's really hard to see. You wanna face the SD card facing, I believe, up? Yes, no, sorry. That could have been bad. You want the SD card to be facing down as it relates to the gimbal, the camera. So go ahead and press that in. That's in there now. This drone takes up to 128 gigabyte SD cards, so keep that in mind. You don't want to put a 256 in here because it may not perform the way that you want it to perform. So I have a 128 in the camera right now. We've gotten through the drone setup, and I just, again, want to bring up my thoughts and give this drone a rating on the setup process. It is a clunky process. This is sort of an archaic process for connecting to drones. A lot of drones still use this process, this Wi-Fi process, and it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not gonna sit here and say that this was terrible, it's awful, because it's just not the case. It's actually pretty easy. It's just terribly inefficient. But what I do find difficult, and this sort of plays into the flight characteristics as well as the setup, and I'm just gonna put it in the setup because we haven't really technically flown the drone yet, is the calibration of the compass as well as the gyroscope before every single flight. That's terribly inconvenient. When you're taking the F7 drone out to offset this inconvenience, this slow, inefficient process for setup, the best thing that you can do is give yourself an extra 10 minutes, because overall the setup doesn't take long. It's pretty easy. It's just gonna take you a little longer than maybe you're used to. So give yourself 10 extra minutes when you take this out in the field to fly it. Overall, when it comes to the setup of this drone and how easy it is, how efficient it is, I give it a 2 out of 5. It's not terrible, it's just dated, and it's something that I think in future iterations of this drone or new drones that BeeWine comes out with, it's going to be really important to get away from this Wi-Fi connection and maybe establish their own direct connection to the drone itself. That would require you to wire the remote into, or the phone into, or device into your remote, but I think most people would rather do that than have to disconnect from their Wi-Fi connection, connect to the drone, wait for it to connect, wait for the remote controller to connect. It's just a really, really inefficient process, and that would be my main critique here. But again, overall, not the worst thing I've experienced, just room for improvement. Well, there you have it. That's part one of our review of the BeeWine F7 drone. We gave it a 3.5 out of 5 on the unboxing. I was really, really impressed with how everything was just sort of laid out, as well as the packaging of the drone and everything that was inside that packaging. I was particularly impressed with that carrying case from the F7. I mean, that's a really high quality carrying case, and it gives you confidence that what's inside is gonna perform up to those same expectations, and it's gonna be well protected by that really, really high quality travel case that you get with it. I was absolutely blown away by that. As far as the setup, we did give it a 2 out of 5. Now, there were a few reasons for that. It wasn't a terrible setup. I can't say that I was totally unhappy with it, but there are definitely some inefficiencies that would make the setup a lot more convenient if they could have just gone back to the drawing board and implemented some new technology. I know that adds maybe additional cost as well as additional, overhead when it comes to research and development, but I think taking it from a Wi-Fi signal and doing some sort of dedicated connection, much like other drones on the market have, could have done this a lot of favors. Overall though, a 5.5 out of 10 on the first video. This drone is a pretty solid little unit. I don't think that you're going to be disappointed with anything that it does as long as you set your expectations for the F7. We're going to be getting into flight characteristics and camera performance in our next video, which is going to be posting tomorrow on YouTube. You can find it right here on the Drone Geeks channel. If you liked this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below, as well as hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps me out a lot, and it gets this video out into the algorithm to people that are interested in drone content, especially drone reviews for drones like the BeeWine F7. So again, I'd like to just say thank you to BeeWine for trusting me with this review. I can't wait to wrap it up in the next video. Until next time, I'm Chris, the Drone Geek, and I am out of here.